I'm Dr. Rod Berger. Sit back, grab a cup of coffee, and explore some of today's most pressing educational issues through the experienced eyes of leading education personalities. Welcome to Coffeed. It's fun to finally meet you face to face. I've heard so much about you. I see you on social media. You are an active professional in education. Is that fair to say?
That is fair to say, yes. I love
it. Let's start with that. Tell me a little bit about social media and your affinity for it and how you've used that, not only to share what you like to do best or best practices, but a way to connect with the greater community of educators outside of Canada and here in the US specifically.
I'm not the type of person that feels that my Facebook should be shared professionally. That's usually a very small collective group of friends and family. So I was looking for something that could share my students' work and my work a little more broadly than, say, district office, which is a few kilometers away. So I stumbled across Twitter, and I get really discouraged when I hear how Twitter's going through financial troubles, and I really can't wrap my head around that because for educators, Twitter is the answer. My career has just bloomed and blossomed through the roof since I found Twitter, and I think I put my finger on it recently. I think it's because you're always supposed to find someone smarter than you, and you're always supposed to find someone who's got a little more knowledge than you. And sometimes locally that can run out pretty quick, or it becomes everyone's on par. So Twitter has given me a global perspective so that when I sit down at a table with parents and students and other teachers, I'm not drawing on what's happening at district office down the street. I'm drawing on the entire world at my fingertips. And I can say, listen, guys, we're behind the eight ball in this, or we are leading in this. So it's really good to get that global perspective.
Did you also feel like you get sort of a head start on researching technologies that you might not have had time, or it just didn't seem to cross sort of your desk at in some moment, and that if you saw it on Twitter from someone that you deem maybe at a different level, different experience, or just a different environment, that it almost gives you a head start on their review of it, sort of their recommendation?
Nearly 100% of the initiatives that happen in my class and in my programs came from Twitter. For instance, we have, I think, one of North America's first HoloLenses, Microsoft HoloLens, in the classroom, and we're developing for that. I would have never known about HoloLens or the Surface Studio if it wasn't for Twitter giving me these heads up and these wow videos that appear. And of course, then as a teacher, you set your mind to bringing it in. Soundtrap's another one. How would I know about a Swedish music company, revolutionizing GarageBand essentially and bringing it online to the cloud? There's no way that would have reached me if I wasn't on Twitter. And Twitter seems to be the platform that reaches out to most educators. And I love the fact that I can then flip it and share it with even more, hopefully picking up someone else along the way.
Now, I know from reading some of your op-eds and just pieces on the web that the power of audio and technology in education is something that you're really passionate about. And we were saying off air that we're finding that a number of different academic departments are also seeing the light, if I could say that, in that, wow, if we can integrate technology with audio and the ways in which students learn for different disciplines, we may really have something. So tell me what we, I guess, have not been paying attention to and how you see technology impacting audio and learning.
Well, no offense to the other softwares, but for years, GarageBand was the staple in audio education. However, that comes with pricey hardware. And a lot of schools couldn't, and for the longest time, couldn't afford Apple hardware to get their hands on the GarageBand. So all of a sudden, this software out of Sweden comes out, and it's Soundtrap, and it really is the answer that a lot of people were looking for. It's like the hallelujah moment, where GarageBand, the same systems, the same, I guess, way of recording, is now in the cloud and available to Chrome devices and Microsoft devices. And both of those companies, Google and Microsoft, have struggled for decades to find a creative solution for audio engineering. There's been third-party software, but it's never been mass adopted or anything like that. So Soundtrap offers that solution for everybody, and Apple included. You can put it on an Apple device, on a Google, Chrome, on a Microsoft. It is a solution for 100% of the classrooms in North America.
Ben, let's talk about the technologies that are exciting you that you're finding not a lot of people are hearing about that they should. Like, what is exciting to you, and what are some areas that you're still looking for answers for innovators to say, well, wait a minute, we need to answer this question and come up with this innovation?
The Minecraft in the classroom is huge. I can't understand why it's not being adopted on a huge scale. I realize that there's a Windows 10 component to it, and some Office 365 accounts now need to be linked to it, and there's some hiccups there, but I really do believe after watching the power of Minecraft happen in my room, that it is the answer. It's if you believe in universal design for learning and how students have to have several ways of representing and presenting their work, Minecraft just solves all of these things. Inclusion in the classroom. There's no behavior problems when you're using Minecraft to demonstrate something. So Minecraft is a big one. I really believe that is should be first and foremost in a lot of people's minds. I really wish there was a little more advancement on game development in education. I mean, the game development market is absolutely huge, and I really think that I was telling the kids today that I'm sharing a lot of the game development processes that we do, but there's not much of an audience yet. It's almost like it's not even on the educational radar at this moment.
What are they missing? Because a lot of people, because I sometimes hear the opposite, that there's so many technologies that are sort of gamifying themselves. So from your perspective, what are they missing?
It's like if you gamify a subject matter, you're right. I see that more broadly. There's some gamifying going on, but in the aspect of actually developing games and students having the hardware and the software available to them, which is all available for free. There are companies like Unity that'll give you a free copy of their $1,500 license. SketchUp is there for you, and anytime that you want to develop assets for a game or anything, again, their software is available free if you ask the right people for it. So I really think it's just I guess people are unaware that these massive costing softwares are available for educational services for free.
How do you evaluate technology, Ben? I'm always so interested in the ways in which we do that. And is it something that we need to continue to build a skill around? Because I think that you hear people talk and it's like they maybe haven't really updated their own software in the way in which they're looking at technology, because it continues to change. I mean, every day is something different. You know, if we look back even a year ago, there are things that were going on that today we would probably shake our head at, but that's okay, because we need to not fear the failure part of it. So how can we get better at really discerning the quality that is out there?
I rate technology for over a decade now. I've rated it in one way for a long time, and that is, will it lead to careers for my students? Because otherwise it's just fun and games. I mean, we can support hobbies all we want, but unless we're talking about productive lives through, I guess, lucrative and important careers, you know, it's just fun. And that's where you get the label on some of the technology initiatives in school, is just being fun. If you can make it relate to a career, then you're talking about a serious technology that we should consider. Most recently, it's been the 7 C's, the 21st century skills of, you know, collaboration, creativity, citizenship, character, computational thinking. These C's, if the technology can support those for me, they are priceless. I weight those C's higher than the actual curriculum documents that we get from the province. And I'm not sure if I'll be fired for saying that, but I really do believe that those 7 C's are what's going to translate into jobs for us Canadians and in North America, and put us ahead of the competition versus the curriculum outcomes that they're still insisting that some of these kids learn.
Ben, given those 7 C's, do you find in Canada, do you see where the corporations are looking at those 7 C's? Are you connecting the dots in Canada? Like, I mean, we are starting to here in the U.S., but where we actually try to communicate what we're teaching kids in schools, the way in which those skills apply to the workforce, et cetera, et cetera. Are they doing that in Canada?
They are. There's certain organizations, like I'm part of a group called New Pedagogies for Deep Learning, and that's under Michael Fullen, Dr. Michael Fullen out of the west coast of Canada. He's got some research there, which is basically the 6 C's. I added the computational thinking because it sounded more pirate-ish, you know, sailing the 7 C's, and for other reasons, I'm sure. But then you have companies like Microsoft are leading the way. I mean, they're acknowledging STEM. They're acknowledging the 21st century skills as being just as important, if not more important, than the actual curriculum. I don't want to put words in their mouth, but that's the feeling I'm getting. And I really do think it's coming along. I think companies from the smallest ones to the largest ones, like Soundtrap, for instance, out of Sweden, are really embracing this skill that will lead our students to a successful career in life in the future.
So we'll close with this. So Ben, you have a lot of energy, and I would imagine that is infectious with your students and your colleagues there. Well, just tell me a little bit about that. And really, I say that with the context being that sometimes I think we don't do a good job of profiling those that bring great enthusiasm to education, and we need to, because young people in your classes are going to be the next Ben Kellys, hopefully. And the only way that'll happen is if they see it as something exciting, that's something that changes all the time for the positive and where they can learn. So tell me a little bit about that level of enthusiasm, and is it something that you're conscious of, or is it's just your pure love of your job?
Well, number one, I do love what I do. I love what I do every day. Like, who wouldn't? I get to come in here and I have HoloLens on my left, Soundtrap on my right, Minecraft in front of me, and drones behind me. So who wouldn't love to come into that atmosphere every day and get to work with students? The students run to my room in general just because it's technology class. It's generally a class that students can love in grades 6 through 12. But I'd like to think that with my stories that I start class with, and just the humor that I provide in really awkward situations and stuff like that, I really like to think that there's other reasons that they're running to the room. I run a lunchtime Minecraft crew that fills the room, so that's another safe place for them at lunch to go and work and create. We have grade 6s using Unity 3D now to make Xbox games at lunch. So it is the enthusiasm. They would have never picked up that Unity 3D if it wasn't for me showing it off. So, and peer-wise, the peers they see the smile on my face when I come in the building, and I think they equate it to hard work. And so we have a tiny house program down the hall, one of the first in Canada where we actually have students building tiny homes for clients.
Jimmy, could you come to the office, please, Jimmy?
Ben Kelly to the office,
Yeah.
please.
And I really do believe that the enthusiasm is contagious. It doesn't work with all. I'd like to think it works with all, but it certainly doesn't work with all teachers and kids, but it's paying off. It helps.
Well, I think it's wonderful, and it really is a testament. I wish, just as a parent, I've got 2 little ones. I hope that they get to experience the Ben Kellys of the world, because it's so important. I mean, it is fun. It can be fun, and it seems obviously that you found a fantastic career path there, and we wish you continued success. Thanks so much, Ben.
Thank you.
Join us for our next cup of coffee as we continue to have conversations in education that matter to you. I'm Dr. Rod Berger, and you've been watching Coffee.